Oh, it's not really a tail. I bought books. I think I need to put you back. Excuse me. The light kinda, I don't know how I feel about the light. Does it look good? Okay. I bought some books and I have others right here. This is so unlike me and it's very uncharacteristic of me, but uncharacteristic of me. I don't know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me and see me, or see me and hear me? Okay. Anywho. Okay. We're gonna start with Ian McLean. I'm gonna go with Ian McLean. Saturday. I don't know what this book is about. The synopsis on the back of the cover, on the back of the book, is kind of, it has some eerie tones to it. So I thought it would be kind of very mysterious and crime kind of tale, but I suppose it's not. Ostensibly, from what I gathered, it might have some dark elements to it. So yeah, I know nothing about this book, and I think that's one of the best ways into reading books, is to go into them completely blind. I think that's how the author would like it. I mean, of course, you'd get the blurb and the synopsis to make sure that you like the elements of the book, but just completely knowing everything, I don't really do much. But I do very oftenly look up spoilers, because I don't mind spoilers at all. If anything, it just pushes me into reading more to get to the point that was spoiled. So yeah, and then we have John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. This is such an interesting edition of Mice and Men. I've never seen anything like it, and I was very intrigued. At first I said, there has to be a missing section of the book. There has to be a missing section. But apparently, this is it. So I picked it up because I really wanted to read Of Mice and Men from John Steinbeck. I read The Pearl by John Steinbeck, which obviously I read because I was very narcissistic, and I saw my name and I said, you know what? Give it to me. And I read it and I really, really enjoyed it. It was a tale of greed and the realization of sometimes what you think could fix all of your issues could be the center of everything going wrong in your life. And I really loved it. So I wanted to read more of John Steinbeck's work. I pondered over reading East of Eden this summer, because everyone is reading East of Eden, but I don't think I will. I think I'm going to read Crime and Punishment for the summer. So yeah, I'm really interested in reading this. I think this is going to be the first book that I read out of everything that I bought. So yeah. And then we have A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. I originally bought the English version of the book, and the woman who worked at the bookstore, she said, you know, all of your books, all the books you bought, they're all in English. You need to buy at least one book that's in your native language, in Arabic. And I said, you know what? Since you've said that to me, I feel like I should. So I will, because I want to challenge myself, and I love challenging myself. So I picked up A Thousand Splendid Suns, the Arabic version, the Arabic edition. I think it's going to be difficult because this book is so poetic and lyrical, from what I've gathered from other people's opinions of it. So I think it's going to be interesting, but a lot of people have cried reading it, so I'm very excited because I love emotional books. Really, really, I do. I love emotional books, so this is going to be very fun. Okay. And then we have Dick Francis Reflex. I don't know much about this book, and I think, as I said before, that's the best way to get into books. A tough young steeplechase jockey who's had a rough history and is nudging success strays upon blackmail and rigged running, takes on villains with true grit and photographic wizardry. And I love the cover, honestly, and I think it's very, very old, or it has been in the sun for a long period of time. And then we have English Literature by Jonathan Bate, a very short introduction. I wanted to collect all of the very short introduction editions of the Oxford University Press because I wanted the organic chemistry one, I think medicine, physics, astrophysics, and politics. Yeah, political science as well, I think. But I only found English literature, which isn't bad. I think I'm gonna order the other ones when I finish this one. But I think it's a very good book to read sporadically, on and off. So yeah, I think someone is coming. And then we have The Secret by Rhonda Byron. I'm sorry if I mispronounce any of the names on here. I really, truly am. I read on the back of this book, it mentioned Plato, Galileo, and Einstein, which I adore them very much. And I originally thought it was going to be a history book, just going on over these scientists and writers and philosophers' lives, but apparently it's a self-help book. And by the way, all of these books are secondhand, just to tell you guys. Yeah, The Secret to Health, Relationships, Money, World, You, Life. I did not know that, but I felt like I saw my favorite words and immediately I just took it. And then we have Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I read Looking for Alaska by John Green, which holds a very, very precious place in my heart. I loved Looking for Alaska. I loved Alaska Young very much, and I talk about her very often. I think John Green's writing is, the simplicity of it is so, and not even meaning to, but it's very poetic because he doesn't need to use very big terms. He doesn't need to use big words or lyrical sentences, but the simplicity of his writing just kind of comes off as that. And maybe I just am biased because I really love Alaska, but I wanted to read Turtles All the Way Down by him. I watched half of the movie on the way back from Shanghai, and a lot of people said that it was a very, very good adaptation of the book. So yeah. And then we have Washington Square by Henry James. This is a very annotated copy, actually. I don't know if you can see that, but I was very pleasantly surprised. I didn't see that when I picked it up, but the thing that made me want to buy this book was the praise on the back of it. Said, the only novel in which a man has successfully invaded the feminine field and produced work comparable to Jane Austen's. So, by Graham Greene, who said that. So, yeah, I don't know if it's a play or anything. I don't think so. But Henry IV, Part 2 is here. Of course, I don't know how I didn't notice, but I did not notice the fact that it said Part 2, and I took it, and I bought it. which is a shame. But I think I'm going to read the first part online. I think I'm going to go back in a month and ask if they have the part 1. But yeah, I've been wanting to get into William Shakespeare's work for a while now. So I saw it and I said, you know what, yes. And I really love the cover. I mean, that's just gorgeous. Okay, and then we have Pygmalion. Yeah, Pygmalion. Let me make sure. Pygmalion by Bernard Shaw. Again, I don't really know much about this book, but what I did read is that it was the classical tale of the sculptor who falls in love with his perfect female statue. It is also a barbed attack on the British class system and a statement of Shaw's feminist views. And for some reason, it did remind me of, what's the name? The Madonna's Fur Coat? Because I don't know why, but it did remind me of Madonna in a fur coat. Madonna in a fur coat, right? Or Madonna's Fur Coat. I really need to read that. I actually went into the bookstore intending to find it. I didn't, but I'll read it eventually. So yeah, I'm really excited into reading this one. Yeah. And then this, I was so excited when I saw this. Fear Street. I have watched Fear Street maybe a million times, but I also knew about the books, and I never thought about reading them, but when I saw it and the opportunity was right in front of me, I said, you know what, give it to me. So I did buy it. It was only $10, so yeah. And I'm having myself a very summerween. Every summer is a horror summer for me. Don't know if you know that about me, but now you do. Horror is a genre that fits into every season. Maybe not spring though. And then we have Narnia, the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Again, this was the second part. Same as Henry IV. Henry IV. Whatever. Anyway, I thought it would be a cute book to read. And yeah, I love adventures, I love fantasy, so I bought it. Okay, and then we have The Shadow of the Wind. The thing that made me gravitate towards this book was the spine of it. It reminded me of The General and His Labyrinth by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And when I opened it, it actually said if you loved Gabriel Garcia Marquez's work, 100 Years of Solitude, you'll love this. And it was an adventure book. I think it's a fantasy adventure book. So yeah, I really want to read this. And then we have maybe the most important thing out of all of these. No, I'm kidding. Game of Thrones series. I originally wasn't going to get it because I said, you know what, I don't know, I've already bought so many books, I don't think I can get any more. And then my father really loves Game of Thrones. He watched the show. He said, you know what, I'll buy it and we can both read it. And I said, really? And he did let me buy it. So I have it. And I actually talked about this on my TikTok, that I really wanted to read the Game of Thrones series because I am in desperate need of a good fantasy novel, just a really enticing and interesting fantasy novel to read that will spark my love for fantastical novels again. I just want something that will sweep me off my feet and take me into a whole other dimension. and a lot of people said that Game of Thrones did that for them, and he didn't release all of the books in the series. And I generally and genuinely don't think he will, but I really hope he does. But at the same time, I'm not counting on it. For the other books that were not from the secondhand bookstore, I got Atonement by Ian McQueen. I loved the cover, it really pulled me in. And when I read the synopsis in the back, it said one of the hottest days of the summer of 1935. And I said, you know what, it's summer here, why not just buy it? So I did. And then we have 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And I've been wanting to read his books for the longest time ever. My copy of The General and His Labyrinth arrived 1 week ago, which was a very nice coincidence because I ordered it back in April, I think, and I did not notice the fact that it said not available or not in stock. So I was like, do I cancel the order because it's not available, or do I just wait? So I was patient, and eventually patience really helped me, and being patient really did me well because it arrived and I was really happy. Also, for the cover, I really loved, I wanted that specific cover of the book, and it wasn't available anywhere else, so I got the cover that I wanted. And then we have 100 Years of Solitude. I was pondering over buying this, and I saw it at the bookstore, and I said, you know what, it's right in front of me, I'll just get it. So I did. And then we have Persuasion by Jane Austen. I thought I had Persuasion. Apparently I didn't, because I had Emma, Pride and Prejudice, and what was the third one? Sense and Sensibility, but I didn't have Persuasion. And a lot of people said that Persuasion was one of the most witty and fun books that they read by Jane Austen, so I bought it. And then we have One Dark Window. See, the thing about this book, I don't know if it's fantasy, I don't know if it's dark romance, I don't know anything about it, but I heard that it made people cry. So I wanted to read it, and I wanted to give it a try. Is it the same book that a lot of people said it's from a fan fiction? That it's a fan fiction book? I don't know, but if it is, Maiden, Monster, and Martyr. I'm very interested. It's very alluring. It's a very alluring book, especially the cover. And then we have a few books that are underneath you right now. And then we have Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I've heard so much praise over this book, especially because a lot of people said it had dark elements to it, which of course, it's a Gillian Flynn novel, but also a lot of people said that if you loved Ethel Cain, you'll love Sharp Objects. I said, you know what? Let me buy it. And I wanted to read the book before I started the show because I do know that there is a show about it. So I think I'm going to read this book, hopefully. And I say that with every last bit of hope that is inside of my body, that I'll finish it in one day so I can watch the show. And then what else? Oh, This Woven Kingdom by Tahira Mafi. I watched Amina praise this book to the moon and back. She loved it so much, and she went through 5 stages of grief while reading it. And I said, you know what, I need it so much. And they said that this is arguably one of the best series that Tahira Mafi wrote. So So I'm really interested into reading it and seeing what all the fuss is about. So yeah, these are all of the books I bought today, and I'm very grateful. Cute. I'm very excited for all of these. I don't know which one I'm going to start off with. I think I'm going to start off with where is it? Yep, Of Mice and Men. I think I'm going to read it. Hopefully tomorrow. I don't know if you guys remember about the woman that I told you about when I think you do remember, it's all in one video. But she essentially told me that when I finish the book, I need to come back to the bookstore and explain it all to her again and tell her my opinions on it. And I said, I'm coming back here, don't you worry. This bookstore is going to be the reason I'm in debt. It's going to be the reason I have no money every month. So yeah, I want to read it after Of Mice and Men, so I can go back and tell her all about it. Don't know if she meant it, but that was a very fun interaction. So yeah, that's all. Farewell, fellow human.